Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about coffee in Mexico, their benefits, the waste generated and their impacts. Did you know that out of the sherry of coffee being produced every year, 50%, approximately 50% of those sherries are being discarded as waste. So today we are going to be looking at the benefit of the coffee that is being produced in Mexico, and the waste generated during the transformation of those coffee into their various finished products, and the impact of the waste on the environment, socially, and also economically. Coffee are abundantly grown in the following areas in Mexico: in Chiapas, in Veracruz, in Oaxaca, and in Puebla. In these areas, we have abundant amount of coffee being grown every year. And research has shown that, Mexico ranked in 10th place, 10th position in the world producers of, coffee. So in other words, they are producing large amount of coffee every year. And like I said, out of the whole large amount of coffee being produced, approximately 50% of those coffee are being discarded as waste. Basically, we have majorly two types of coffee being produced: coffee robusta and coffee arabica. And in Mexico, we have abundance of the coffee arabica being produced in all those areas that have been mentioned earlier. Why is coffee farming very, very important in Mexico? We have series of importance of coffee farming in Mexico, and I'm going to be mentioning them one after the other. Number one is the economic importance. Coffee farming helps to increase the income of farmers. In Mexico, the coffee farmers in Mexico tends to get a lot of income as a result of the coffee they sell. After cultivating the coffee, they tend to sell the cherries to coffee industries, and in return they tend to get a lot of revenues from that, and also it serves as export commodity for the Mexican government. We also have the social importance. Basically, we are going to be looking at the waste generated during the processing of the coffee cherries. So we have series of waste being generated during the processing of the coffee. We have the coffee pulp, the husk, the wastewater, which is also mucilage, and we also have the silver skin. And remember, like I said, up to about 45 to 50% of that coffee sherry is being discarded as waste. So we have a lot of waste from coffee. And to this regards, we have environmental, social, and economic impact of those waste on those areas. For instance, for the environmental impact, most times the coffee waste is being discarded or dumped in a bin site, and as a result, it can prevent the use of the land. And secondly, it can cause the release of greenhouse gases like methane and the likes into the environment, and causing some greenhouse effects. And in general, it results in global warming. And another thing is, still on the environmental impact, it can cause air pollution. When coffee is being dumped in those areas, it can result in air pollution, and this is dangerous for the people living in those areas, especially in those industrial areas where coffee is being used as their major raw materials. The economic effect of the waste. Sometimes in cleaning those areas where the coffee pulp, coffee waste, where the coffee waste has been deposited, it requires large amount of money in cleaning those areas. And for the social effect, sometimes when the waste are being deposited in those areas, we can see that it results into a dispute between the landowners and the industries or the farmers. It's going to result into dispute, because most times when you keep dumping in a particular area and the land is being filled, you tend to go into other areas and dump in those areas, and as a result it can cause a dispute between those who owns the land and the industry, and several other negative effects. So research has probed into converting those waste into useful materials, and several research has looked into converting them into fertilizers, where they can use them in increasing the growth of plants. And other research looked into converting them into feeds. For instance, use them in producing fish feeds, pig feeds, and the likes. Other research has looked into that, and the other research are looking at getting biologically active compounds from the coffee waste. And these compounds could now be used in several industries to enhance their products through fortification and the likes. For example, the pharmaceutical, the food, and the cosmetic industries would benefit from the bioactive compounds being generated from the waste, from coffee waste in these areas. So in the long run, coffee plant is widely grown in Mexico, like I've mentioned about several communities where it is being grown. It is grown in Mexico and it has several benefits to the Mexican government. And apart from that, a large amount of waste is being generated, like I said, and those waste not just have several negative impact, but they could also be converted into valuable resources that could in turn generate income for Mexican government. And in this area is where several researchers are looking into, because you can do without producing coffee. And if you produce coffee, definitely you're going to be having almost 50% of the coffee being produced as waste. And the research now is converting those waste into wealth, that is valorization. And that is what research is looking at presently in order to help those communities, to find a good reading of the waste and have good use for those waste and prevent, excessive waste disposal. And for when those waste are being used as they are being produced, it reduces the waste and in return reduce the risk that is being associated with the waste. And that is what we have learned so far in this video. If you have really find this video useful, please share this video, like, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.